I'm welcoming this morning Mark Smith, who is one of my former clients, and I'm proud to regard as a really good friend. Love talking with Mark, love meeting with him over lunch when we could do such things. But yeah, I've invited Mark to share with us today his Monday Moments thoughts on what's happened to me during in the past few weeks. So Mark, your thoughts about, you want to pick up on soul, I think. So take us into your thoughts and see where we go.
Okay. Yeah, so lockdown has been a very interesting period of time, period of life that's suddenly been thrust upon me, been thrust upon us all. And initially, a lot of time was taken up in getting the business properly organised so that all my staff are safe, that they also feel that they're safe, that we can all work remotely and keep the machine turning, as it were, from a business point of view.
Right.
So we managed to achieve that quite quickly. As a result of that, we're all working remotely. We've got a skeleton crew in the office, and all of our client meetings are arranged either by telephone or Microsoft Teams. That actually has turned out to work far better than I expected. So, business has been very, very good throughout lockdown.
Good.
But I've also found that I've had a lot more time personally just to think about me and life and where do we go from here. And one of those things that cropped up was in connection to the Soul Millionaire and your recent book, The Flight of the Soul Millionaire.
Right.
Is, well, what actually is the soul? We talk about the Soul Millionaire, and I think our generation can find it a little bit mystical and a bit sort of out there when you talk about the soul. And I've noticed, so I've got my children now are all late teens, early 20s.
Wow.
They're far more comfortable with talking about the soul and understanding how important it is to have a healthy soul. So I've been spending a bit of time learning from them, and that's led me on a little journey to try and cultivate a more healthy soul for myself. So that's kind of my lockdown journey so far.
Well, you've got my attention. So what has evolved in your thinking and feeling?
Well, I guess for me it starts with, what is the soul? What does that mean? And for me, I think the soul is the essence of who you are. So you're a coach, I'm a financial planner. If we took those labels away, you've still got who you are and who I am in essence. And I think the soul is the essence of who we are forever, before our career, during our career, throughout the later stages of life. And so from that point of view, the soul is really, really important. It is the essence of us.
Right.
For me, it breaks down into three key areas, the soul, when I think of what is the soul. And the soul, I think, is your mind, your will, and your emotions.
Okay.
That, to me, constitutes the soul, the essence of who you are. So to cultivate a healthy soul, I need to be giving attention to my mind, my will, and my emotions. So that's my first thinking around what is a soul. It then leads on to, are those three things equal? How do you cultivate a healthy soul? And so that's been my more recent thinking.
So having asked yourself the question, where has that taken you?
Well, the first thing is actually, to be honest, what I've really, lockdown is awful in the sense that coronavirus is very serious, and it's people are dying, so that's dreadful. But it has provided this opportunity to reassess. So one of the things it's led me to do is to form new healthy habits,
okay,
and to to really pick up the existing habits that I have. And one of those is just to get up early and have a time for myself in the morning, just to meditate and to think and to read. And that's really led me to the conclusion that the most important part of the soul is the mind. And the potentially most dangerous part of the soul is the emotions.
Right.
And the will, if you like, is like the compass between the two. It gives you direction and guidance. And I think this is an analogy that really, really helps me when I think of the soul. So, if you like, the mind is like the air traffic controller in the airport. And it sees all of the data, all the planes flying around in the sky, and certain planes it will allow to land, and certain planes it shouldn't allow to land. And if you like, the planes are like the emotions. So the mind gets to choose which emotions should land and unpack, and which planes or emotions shouldn't land and unpack. And I found when our mind lets the wrong planes land and then unpack all of its baggage, which could be, I don't know, fear, anger, unforgiveness, the feeling of, right, I'm going to quickly send a text to let this person know what I think. All that stuff damages my soul. But when my mind says, hang on a minute, you've got no permission to land here. You can just move on. And I don't unload all that baggage. I find I have a healthier soul because of it. So that's something that helps me when I think about a soul, that my mind, my will, and my emotions are vital. They're my essence. But I've got to be careful what happens with my emotions. So there's this hierarchy, that it's about your mind taking charge and saying, okay, guys, we're all in this together, but I call the shots.
So help me understand, I hear compass for will. So are you able to expand a little bit more about will, where that fits within this wonderful analogy?
Yeah. So your will is a bit like the rudder to the ship, or in my, my data controller, the will is where you actually say, yes, land, or no, don't land. It's that decision that either moves you, if you like, to turn left or turn right. So it's a really, really important part of the process. Your will determines actually what lands.
Wow.
But your mind is taking all that data into account, and then saying, the will kicks in and says, yeah, okay, we'll let that one land.
So is this a recent evolving of thinking for you, or is that something you've lived for a number of years? Is it really just inspired by this time to think period?
It is. It's inspired by this time to think. I found that life generally, and certainly pre-lockdown life for me, did not really help to facilitate a healthy soul. So, I've got a business that I run. I've got all sorts of responsibilities there to my staff. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I've got friends, I'm a son, and so on. And I found pre-lockdown actually life pretty full on.
Yeah.
I've always made the point of trying to enjoy my life, but lockdown has given me an opportunity to really think a lot more deeply about life, and certainly my time in the morning. So one practice that I've had on and off throughout my life is meditation in the morning. And again, our generation can think that's a little bit weird. I think the younger generation are very cool with it.
Yeah.
But I use an app to help me. So there's an app from the App Store called Calm.
Right.
And so I download Calm, and you've got a gazillion different ways of meditation through that. I have this particular app. So 10 minutes every morning, I just spend time meditating, thinking. And another thing that I found quite helpful with that is to think of your thoughts like clouds.
Okay.
They can come and you can spend a bit of time and absorb them, or they can go. And they can be positive or negative. And if a negative comes into your world, kind of see it like a cloud or see it like a plane that you don't want to land and just let it move on by. So this is me talking to myself here, don't try and resist it and fight it, but just acknowledge that it's there. There is a problem, but you don't have to take it on. I found take on more drama than I need to. Whereas actually these clouds will just float by if you chill out and let them.
I love that word drama. There was a very small subject in my life this week that at 3 o'clock in the morning became a drama, in my head, and these old things, these old arguments in our heads that we have.
Yeah.
He says this, and she says this, I'm going to say this, and well, that's what happened, and it was a drama, and I woke up thinking that was completely and utterly bonkers. Why would I spend time and energy on that, which is, in your analogy, just a cloud?
Yeah.
That's a wonderful analogy. So I can't believe it's 10 minutes. This is crazy.
Wow.
Just a couple of concluding questions, if I might. Our generation seems to be accustomed to being always very busy. Yeah. We always have a very full in tray, a very full inbox, more projects that could be done than we have a life for, or even 2 lifetimes for.
Yeah.
How do you, as a business leader, a father and a husband, and all the pressures around that, find time to meditate in the morning when I know that you've got a head full of inbox? How do you do that?
Well, to be honest, I found through lockdown, I found it quite easy. And I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that to be honest with you. And I think sometimes we like to present an answer that we think people want to hear. But I found it easy because I love it. And I've always found in my life the stuff I love always gets done.
Right.
And it's such a precious time to me, of just preparing me for the day, that it isn't difficult, So I don't get up massively early, just about 6:15 in the morning.
Uh-huh.
As soon as I'm awake, I'm really looking forward to, my routine is a glass of water, a cup of tea, and 10 minutes meditation. And no one else is up, and I really enjoy it. So from that point of view, I'm trying to learn that my inbox is a cloud, in that analogy.
Yeah.
It's going to get done. The important stuff happens. The disasters that I feared never took place. So for me, that morning time is really precious.
Yes. I think that's a Mark Twain-ism, isn't it?
Oh, is it right? Okay.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I had lots and lots of problems, just none of them ever happened.
Yeah.
Yes. So just on a practical note then, for those listening to Monday Moments, it is just 10 or so minutes, is it, that you find in the morning? And if I'm doing that, so for me, it's reading, wisdom literature and the scriptures and so on and so forth. But if I'm doing that, what happens to me that makes it worthwhile, me having done that? What's the result of that in your view?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, that, because when you're thinking about these things, you can say, well, what's that doing for you at the time? And actually, I think it's very hard to answer that. What you can, the answer in that question lies in, well, how was the rest of the day? And I think the power and the benefit from starting your morning in that way, and like you, after my little 10 minutes meditation, I'll have 10 minutes reading. I found it's as though I'm putting fuel into my soul for the day.
Okay.
And because it's early in the morning, and I haven't got cluttered up with all sorts of drama yet, it sticks. So, for example, yesterday's meditation was about go to your mountain, which is something that you taught me about as Soul Millionaire. So I was really up for that, go to your mountain. And then it said, now be the mountain. Be strong, be immovable, let clouds move, past you.
Right.
And that thought stayed with me all day. And actually, I did have a day with quite a bit of drama in it, but it didn't really touch me because I thought, no, this is just a passing bit of drama. It can go.
Right.
So it's in the rest of the day that I get the benefit from that time in the morning.
I love that. So two things. I think this is a beautiful place to conclude because it's just a nice little time we create in Monday Moments, just digestible. But secondly, I think there's more. I'd love to invite you back for another Monday Moment to just continue the conversation and see where that takes us. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be fine.
I'd love to. Your thoughts on Soul Millionaire and things you have taught me in the past about our relationships with wives and children. Thank you so much for joining on Monday Moments. I've really enjoyed this. And just summarize the 3 parts of the soul again so we don't forget it.
So it's your mind, your will, and your emotions.
I love that. Thank you so much, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, David.
Yeah, we'll talk to each other again soon.